Hi, I'm Doug Hirsch, Dean of Educational Programs at Santa Barbara City College. And in this edition, we're going to talk about the iPhone 4, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start by talking about some of its new features. In the iPhone 3GS, the camera was 3 megapixel. Now, in the iPhone 4, the camera is 5 megapixel. What's more, it has a flash. And even better, it's autofocus. So I would say that the camera is much improved. On the video side of the camera, it's now 720p. So the videos are actually much higher quality. The front and back-facing cameras on the iPhone 4 allow you to use FaceTime if both you and your interlocutor have Wi-Fi. That's pretty cool. What would be even cooler, and what's coming, I'm told, is iMovie on the phone, so that when you make a movie, you can edit it on your phone and then send it to somebody. No need to go to a production studio or use your laptop. In the previous iPhones, especially the iPhone 3GS, you could pretty much expect about a 5 to 7 hour battery life. Now if you look at the iPhone 4, you can see that it's square and it has a different shape, and what they've done with this is they've added actually a bigger battery into the case. And so as opposed to 5 to 7 hours in the iPhone 3GS, you can expect about 7 to 10 hours of battery life in the iPhone 4. That's what I found, and I like that. Now you've probably heard reports about the new iPhone screen being bigger than the screen on the old iPhone, and that's simply not true. In both cases, the iPhone screen is 3.5 inches diagonally. But what is different is the resolution. The resolution of the iPhone 3GS is approximately 320 by 480 by 163 pixels per inch. Now in the iPhone 4, the resolution is 960 by 640 by 326 pixels per inch, which is an 8-fold improvement over the previous model. Now to me, that's a significant improvement, and you know what? It's a very clear screen, so I say, thank you, Apple. The iPhone 3GS had an operating system called iOS 3.1.3. Now with the iPhone 4, they've upgraded to iOS 4.0. Now what's so great about iOS 4.0? Well, first of all, you get multitasking. That is, you can do more than one thing at once without having to close a program. 2, you get folders, so you can move things into folders and group applications. That's pretty cool. And then thirdly, and I think most important, are the integrated mail accounts. The iPhone 4 has a 1 gigahertz processor. That's a 40% increase in speed over the iPhone 3GS, which is pretty significant in my opinion. What's also significant is that they've doubled the RAM. In the iPhone 3GS, the RAM was 256 megabytes, and now the RAM in the iPhone 4 is 512 megabytes. And for any of you who multitask or use pretty intensive applications, you know the more RAM you have, the faster it is, the better it is, so that's another plus. So now let's talk about the industrial design of the device itself. Well, to begin with, the buttons are more user-friendly on the iPhone 4. Next, the screen glass is made out of the same glass as helicopter windshields. So it's much more flex resistant and much more damage resistant. That's good because I've now broken, I think it's 3 screens. Also, you've got 2 turntables and a microphone. I mean, you've got 2 microphones on the phone. So that's really good. And it has a micro SIM on the side. So what's the big deal about that? Well, clearly if the SIM is taking up less space, then you've got more space for everything else in the phone, like the battery. So, all pluses. These are all good. Now maybe it's time to talk about some known issues. We might as well start with the white balance on the video camera, which some people have said is not so great. Well, I have news for you. When you try to shoot under fluorescent light, which has spectrum peaks in the green and the orange, you're not going to get really good video anyway. So no, I don't have a real problem with the white balance of the video camera, though it's been a known issue. It's been addressed, or I should say it's been reported. Now, more important to me is actually the function of this, not as a toy, as a kind of digital Swiss Army knife, but rather as a phone. And so dropped calls has been an issue that's been noted, and I've myself experienced that. And so a phone that doesn't work as a phone ain't much of a phone. So that's one issue that I care about. The other one, of course, is the issue that everybody's talking about, which is the issue of, hold it a certain way, put your hand in the lower left-hand corner, and by golly, the bars disappear. And then, of course, Steve Jobs comes out and says, well, that's not really a problem, and we have a fix for it, and it's an algorithm, and it's just the way it's appearing. Well, that sounds a lot like corporate doublespeak to me, and I don't like that. And now they're giving out these bumpers, Well, of course, I never had that problem because I keep mine in a case, and it's insulated. But just the way the company handled it was a problem. That's the bad. It ain't the ugly. I'm going to come to the ugly later. Let's go back to the good, though. Let's talk about some apps. Well, here's a cool app. It's called Log Me In, and allows you to use your iPhone to log into your computer. Well, that's pretty cool. That makes your computer essentially a server. Well, have you ever wanted to be able to print something from your iPhone, like a photograph or a text document? Well, now you can. There's an application called Print and Share, and that's a pretty neat one. Now, some people are real iTunes diehards. I'm not. And so when I use my iPhone, I like it to be a virtual drive, a volume. And Air Sharing allows you to do that. This is an application where your iPhone basically mounts with Wi-Fi to your computer as another hard drive, and then you can just drag and drop files in and out of it. I like that. It makes it simpler. Another one of my favorite apps is Red Laser. With Red Laser, you simply take a photo of a barcode of an item that you want to buy at a store, and automatically your phone will tell you the cost of that item at other stores near you, in case you want to get in your car and drive a few miles and save a couple of bucks. Sometimes it's worth it. Well, I said at the beginning, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and so it's time for the ugly, which means it's time to talk about bars again. Why bars? Not because of the fact that the bars are disappearing, which is an issue. And what that issue is that if you hold the phone the wrong way, which is the way most people hold it, an uninsulated phone, a phone without a case, without a bumper, if you put your fingers in the lower left-hand corner, the bars start to disappear. Now, of course, Apple is saying that that's not a real issue because it's only the bars, and so they're providing an algorithm which is going to fix the display. But in fact, when you allow these bars to go down by holding the phone the wrong way, then so too does the call. So that's a non-fix for a real issue. Really, the issue is not bars. The issue is trust. And why, many people ask, would Apple lie to me? A company that I love and trust and have built trust with for many years. So that's really one major problem. The other ugly, I would say, is what many people call great phone, saturated network. Yes, it's the ugly of the marriage between Apple and AT&T. Why by now is it not possible to use your iPhone with just about any carrier, whether it's AT&T, Verizon, you name it? Or what about an app that chooses what the strongest carrier is no matter where you are, and you get one bill? I mean, I like to use Skype on my iPhone. It's great, but you have to have Wi-Fi for that. So I think the big ugly is AT&T. It's that saturated network. When it really comes down to it, with all its features, this is a phone. And if it's not working as a phone, it's not worth a whole lot. And so what this really says is, if they don't fix the problems, the endemic, inherent problems with the phone, then Google, with its Android operating system and some other features, may soon surpass it. So the question really becomes, who is going to be the dominant player in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years? I don't know. Do you? Well, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. So blog back to me. Tell me your love affair, your other thoughts about your iPhone. Tell me what you think about the future. But let me know what you think. This is Doug Hirsch, Dean of Educational Programs for TechEdge. Thank you.